What's up, Misfit Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Matt the Misfit. We're going to go over SmackDown for November the 4th, 2022 as the go-home show for Crown Jewel. We had an Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion, defending against Rey Mysterio. Bray Wyatt was on the show tonight. We had Liv Morgan and Sonya Deville in no disqualification match. We've seen another vignette for the Viking Raiders. We had a World Cup announcement, and for the fun of it, since I'm not going to be covering the pay-per-view tomorrow, I will be going over quick predictions for Crown Jewel and all that jazz is going to go on with that show. And I did watch Rampage because I wanted to watch Shibata versus Orange Cassidy. I loved that match. It was great. So now, if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button and the like button. Comment down below. Follow the social medias at Misfit TV, at Misfit Wrestling Pod on Instagram. Misfit TV is Misfit Wrestle TV is the Twitter page, and we also have a YouTube handle now. YouTube.com/at Misfit Wrestling Podcast. So it'd be easier way to find us and all that good stuff. So, SmackDown was an alright show. It was taped last week. I saw the spoilers and all that stuff, so I know exactly what happened. Well, not the backstage the stuff that we saw, like the Bray Wyatt stuff and all that, but I did see the spoilers for the matches, and SmackDown was no exception. Start off for a pretty fun match. This match was actually far better than what Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey did at Extreme Rules. Liv Morgan defeated Sonya Deville in a really fun no DQ match. Match starts off with Deville clocking Morgan with some right hands. Sonya Deville starts going up and for some kendo sticks. But Liv Morgan grabs it, takes it away from Sonya Deville. She starts whacking her. Well, she's going to start whacking her with it. They try to do, I guess, like a lightsaber fight. Seems like Deville gets the upper hand and hits her in the midsection with a kendo stick of her own. She whacks her across the back. Then Morgan grabs it out of her hand repeatedly, smacks Sonya Deville with the kendo stick with her own accord. Keeps hitting her back. He just keeps repeatedly hitting her. She goes into the ring to find a table because why not? Sonya Deville then takes her down with a baseball slide. Morgan hits a pair of suicide dives and tosses Sonya Deville back into the ring steps. That is, sets the table up to Liv Morgan while Deville is down. But Deville starts delivering a kick to Morgan, sends her into the table. The women then head up to the ring apron. Deville looks to do a German suplex through the table that Liv Morgan set up on the outside. Morgan reverses it, and they just go crashing through the table on the outside. Fans starting chanting, "This is awesome," because table spot is the "This is awesome" chant now. They go to commercial break. They come back. Deville starts delivering some right knees to Morgan's jaw. Then she follows that up with a flying knee. Goes for the pin. Liv Morgan was able to kick out. Sonya Deville then starts heading to the outside. Starts throwing a bunch of chairs into the ring. She gets back inside. Liv Morgan takes her down with a series of knees and kicks. Morgan then hits a running back elbow, followed up by a step-up knee into the code breaker. Sonya Deville gets in trouble because then Liv Morgan goes for the pin. Sonya Deville kicks out. Morgan eyes the chair that was put in the ring, and she sets Sonya Deville on top of the turnbuckle, climbs up to the bit of rope, looks for a superplex, and Deville blocks it. Then power bombs her onto the top of the chairs, goes to the pin. Morgan kicks out. Sonya then sends Liv Morgan face first into the chairs. Morgan fires back with Code Breaker, followed by the Oblivion for the win. Liv Morgan is your victor here. Hopefully, this is the end of that feud. We don't know what's going to happen next with Liv Morgan. I'm interested because it seems like they're doing some type of, I guess, Harley Quinn-esque type character with her. But Liv Morgan gets up the win. Much needed win, might I add, after a very bad Extreme Rules showing from Liv Morgan and within her match with Ronda Rousey. Next up, we've seen a recap, of Emma's return last week when Emma was the surprise, sort of, opponent for Ronda Rousey. We are backstage with Emma as Megan Morant asks Emma how she feels about being back. She says she was never sure if she would ever step back into a WWE ring again. She said she had to prove something to herself. Xia Li walks in, good to see Xia Li back. She says she watched her lose. She says only thing that she proved is that she's weak. Emma says that's actually Ronda Rousey who showed that she was weak. Then clocks Xia Li with a forearm, and that's how that segment ends. Look at that. We're getting. I love that SmackDown is able to have feuds outside the title picture and not around it, while Raw has the same people feuding, even though it's the people who are around it are still feuding around the women's championship and Bianca Belair. SmackDown, you have Ronda Rousey and Shayna doing their thing, and then you have another story going. You have two other stories going on. Don't know if that one is finished or not, but with Sonya Deville and Liv Morgan, and then you just started something here with Emma and Xia Li. So I wouldn't mind them feuding Xia Li with Emma, just so Emma and mostly Xia Li can be on TV screen. Next up, we have a video package with the stupid Paul brothers and their friends discussing. I'm surprised they even have friends. Discussing Logan Paul's. I don't fucking care about either one of these people. Their upcoming match, Logan's upcoming match against Roman Reigns tomorrow at Crown Jewel. That was all we had to talk about there. Next up, we had Ricochet versus LA Knight. First we had a little side, hyping self interviews with Ricochet that's hyping himself up for his match with LA Knight. LA Knight comes out, criticizes Samantha Irvin. Samantha. LA Knight comes out, criticizes Samantha Irvin for getting his hometown wrong last week. Before that could happen, suicide dive from Ricochet. They go to commercial. When we come back, we see a video package of the Viking Raiders and Sarah Logan. So whenever they're getting ready to come back, they're going to be coming back. Interested to see that. Then we had Ricochet, LA Knight. After that, Tope Suicida. They start going back and forth into the ring. Eventually, Ricochet hits a shoulder to the midsection of LA Knight, then follows it up with a crossbody to the top rope, and does a standing shooting star press. Ricochet goes for the pin, but Knight kicks out. Ricochet ascends to the top to hit the 450, I believe it was. And Knight ducks out of the way. Ricochet rolls him up, but LA Knight reverses the pin, grabbing his tights for the win. So LA Knight wins. Another great win for LA Knight. Build him up to eventually challenge for an Intercontinental Championship match. Maybe not while Gunther's the champion, but I pointed this out earlier today. I would not be opposed to having LA Knight win Money in the Bank next year. I think he would be a perfect fit, a perfect heel, and a perfect fit for the briefcase. Imagine LA Knight with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Like just him holding it around and taunting people, and talking trash and talking shit to people is fantastic. I like that idea. Next up, one of my favorite things from on SmackDown outside of Bray Wyatt, the Bloodline. The Bloodline is backstage with Sami Zayn, doing a prep talk, hyping up the Usos for being on the verge of breaking the New Day's record as the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history. Jay says they're going to head to the ring to celebrate. Sami tries to stop them from doing that and preserve their energy to help Roman win tomorrow, but Jay doesn't listen. And they just move on, and Jey Uso, Sami's like, "Oh, why Usos, man, my dogs," and shit like that. Sami Zayn is hilarious. I love what they're doing with that. Good note about that. This storyline was with Sami Zayn was supposed to be a 3 or 4 week story, and it was going to lead to Kevin Owens coming in and then putting Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn back together, or together at least. That is on hold now because Triple H knows how over this whole thing is and how popular Sami Zayn is at the moment. I'm gonna predict that this is gonna go all the way to Elimination Chamber, and Sami Zayn is gonna do something. I don't know what he's gonna do there, but this is gonna lead to Kevin Owens coming to the rescue of Sami Zayn. It's gonna set up for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens challenge the Usos for the WWE Tag Team titles at WrestleMania, and the Usos are going to drop the titles to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. That's what I see happening. But I'm excited to see where this is going. This is fun. This is one of the best stuff on WWE television, next to Bray Wyatt. And speaking of Bray Wyatt's backstage. He says he's not the type of person who likes to share his feelings. He says it makes it harder when people interrupt him. Some schmuck tells him to relax, which I don't know if he's talking to him or if he's talking to somebody in his earpiece. But Bray Wyatt approaches him. He says he's trying to. I know he's just trying to do. He tells the some crew member, some schmuck. I know you're just trying to do your job, but I can't stand here. And the way he's thinking of things, and says he hates himself. He says he's a hair away from grabbing a crew member, just smashing his face into the concrete wall, wanting to attempt murder on somebody, which is fantastic. He tells him to look him straight in the eyes and apologize. The schmuck apologizes. White says he knows, and he tells him to go away. And then we see imagery of like Jigsaw, female Jigsaw, and stuff like that. So Bray Wyatt will be at Crown Jewel tomorrow to do what? Who knows? We'll find out tomorrow with Crown Jewel and what Bray Wyatt is going to do. I'll talk about that when I get to my Crown Jewel predictions for the show tomorrow night. Next up, we got the Usos coming down here after they were told not to by Sami Zayn. Obviously, you see the same people in the crowd from last week. Jimmy says that they're on the way to making history, becoming the longest reigning tag team champions in the history after tomorrow night. They say the Brawling Brutes are the two, while we are the ones. New Day's music hits, and Kofi and Xavier comes out. They tell the Usos to hold up and say that they're rooting for the Brutes, and they say if they manage to retain the titles, they need to understand once that they touch back down in America from Saudi Arabia, they'll be waiting to tear them limb from limb and to protect their record, the New Day's record, that is. The two teams stare down one another before Butch and Ridge Holland launches a surprise attack on them from behind. New Day joins in, but Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn run out to even the odds. The only person who will not be at Saudi Arabia is Sami Zayn. Next up, we got Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler beats the ever-living fucking shit out of Natalya. We're getting shades of the old Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler just beats the ever-living shit out of, like I said, of Natalya. Locks in the Karafuda clutch. Natalya passes out. Shayna Baszler wins. After the match, Shayna knees Shayna. After the match, Shayna knees Natalya into the face, breaking her nose. And I have a prediction for this here, since Ronda Rousey is not on Crown Jewel. I think Shayna is playing Ronda Rousey here. What I think is going to happen is, Ronda Rousey is going to pretend like, or Shayna is going to pretend like she's now buddies again with Ronda. And when Ronda is most vulnerable, and lets her go or down and whatnot, Shayna Baszler is going to strike, and I think we're going to set up for Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey at not WrestleMania, because I still think that's going to be Ronda and Becky. Shayna and Ronda at the Royal Rumble. That's what I think is going to happen. So that, or you could do that. No, I wouldn't do that at Survivor Series yet. I would have Shayna. I would have Ronda take on Natalya at Survivor Series, but outside of that, I would save the big match between Shayna and Ronda for the Royal Rumble, and then after that, or you can do that inside the chamber. Put Ronda and Shayna in the chamber. You can do that too if you want. But I think it's gonna be Ronda and Shayna at the Royal Rumble, then which leads into the Ronda versus Becky at WrestleMania, without fucking Charlotte Flair. Might I add you. Next up, we got a video package hyping up the steel cage match between Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. Then we got Braun Strowman beating down some GCW schmucks and MVP. MVP is obviously not traveling in Saudi Arabia, so this is probably the best way to explain why he's not in Saudi Arabia. Moving on from that, we break down next week's show. I will talk about what's happening on next week's show after I go over the main event. Main event, we had Gunther defeating Rey Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, or retaining the Intercontinental Championship in a very, very fun match. Main event. Gunther is doing some of the best work of his career so far. Even under Vince McMahon, Gunther has been treated flawlessly on the main roster. I'm very happy to see that. I was worried that Vince was going to ruin Walter coming up the main roster. With a few months they had him on the main roster, I was happy with what I saw. Now Triple H is in charge. He sees value in Walter, so we're going to see where they go from here. I'm excited for that. So the match starts. Gunther whips Mysterio into the corner. He looks to go flying, does Mysterio, but Gunther catches him and delivers a chop. He already destroys his chest. Follows it up with another one, and drags him out to the outside. They go to break. They come back. Gunther sends Mysterio fly. Most of the matches, Mysterio going all over the place here. At one point, Gunther then delivers several kicks to Mysterio's head. Mysterio slaps him back and then follows up with a series of palm strikes. Gunther knocks him to the mat, but Mysterio flies back with a kick and a bulldog. He kicks Gunther into the corner, then delivers an enziguri and a senton off the top rope. He hits a moonsault from the middle rope, then goes for the pin. Gunther kicks out. Mysterio sends him to the middle rope with a hurricane run, hits the 619, which I was very impressed to see that. But Gunther gets up, drags him back into the ring, ascends to the top rope, but Mysterio meets him there. Gunther then looks for a powerbomb, but Mysterio reverses into a hurricane run in midair, goes for the pin. Gunther kicks out. The crowd is chanting, "Oh, this is awesome," because like I said, this was a great match. Mysterio hits a sunset flip. Gunther kicks out. Mysterio uh, looks for a frog splash. Gunther rolls out of the way, hits the drop kick, followed up by a power bomb, goes for the pin. Mysterio kicks out again. The two men exchange chops before Rey Mysterio hits. Look for another 619. Gunther catches him with the boot, delivers the clothesline for the win. Gunther retains the Intercontinental Championship in a fun main event. That was SmackDown. SmackDown was a decent show. Not too much happened. Like news wise, we saw the video package for the Viking Raiders and Sarah Logan. We saw more stuff for Bray Wyatt, who will be on Crown Jewel tomorrow. We saw build for Shayna Baszler coming back as a badass, murdering Natalya. Jey Uso continues not to listen to Roman Reigns. LA Knight being great at what he does. Liv Morgan doing some interesting work with what she's doing now. So, but next week we have because we had a video package with Legado del Fantasma warning Shinsuke Nakamura. So next week is going to be Shinsuke Nakamura versus Santos Escobar, which should be fun. We also found out that next week is going to start the SmackDown World Cup, which was announced during the show. 8 participants. I'm assuming it's male superstars. I'm assuming you're going to see a member of the Brawling Brutes in there, a member of Legado del Fantasma, maybe Shinsuke Nakamura. I listened to somebody call up somebody from NXT. You could call up Tyler Bate if you want to. Tyler Bate. Could do all that stuff. And then also, the winner of Brawling Brutes and Usos will take on the New Day for the tag team titles. So that's SmackDown next week. We also found out from Fightful that Mia Yim is on her way back to the main roster, or not? Well, not just the main roster, just the. So this is from Fightful Select. WWE has interest in bringing back Mia Yim to the company after Mia Yim's contract with Impact expired in early October. Mia Yim was released by the WWE back on November 4th, 2021. I have prediction about where Mia Yim's going to be. I think she'll be appearing tomorrow night. I'm going to tell you about that in a little bit. Also, a little news update here. If I can find it, Scarlett. Let's talk about Scarlett here. So this also came from Fightful Select. Go subscribe for Fightful Select. So Scarlett was originally going to manage Damian Priest when NXT made the jump to the USA Network back in September of 2019, but Priest turned it down and think it didn't fit. Which I swear I heard something like this before, but I'm actually glad that didn't happen because that would be a weird setup. So we are getting some cool stuff with that here. So that should be fun here. All right, let's go through the Crown Jewel predictions real quick. Like I said, I'm not going to be reviewing the show, but I will be doing predictions here. First up, we got the OC versus the Judgment Day. This is going to be AJ Styles and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson taking on Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio with Rhea Ripley in the corner. I think the OC is going to win here with the help of Mia Yim. I said that I was talking about this when I mentioned Mia Yim earlier, a few minutes ago. That is, I think Mia Yim. To me, it doesn't feel like it's a coincidence that Mia Yim talks to Mia Yim coming back to the WWE. And then the very next day or the day before, Crown Jewel. Just now, personally, I would put Mia Yim on SmackDown, but I do think I would still like to see. I would personally like to see her go to SmackDown, but if it's going to be anybody, it's going to be. It just may. I don't know. I would love to see it be Mia Yim, and I think it's going to be Mia Yim that comes out and helps AJ Styles and the club or the OC, whatever you want to call them, do defeat the Judgment Day on this show. A match that was just announced on Tuesday or Wednesday. The newly crowned WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Asuka and Alexa Bliss will take on Dakota Kai and Io Sky. I would not put it past WWE to put the titles back on Io Sky and Dakota Kai because I think, which coincides with my next prediction, the Raw Women's Championship will change hands. Bayley will win the Raw Women's Championship in the last women's standing match. I think WWE is going to have all the Damage Control hold all the titles on Raw. I think that's what's going to happen here. That's my prediction there. The Usos versus the Brawling Brutes for the WWE Tag Team Championships. I think the Usos, like I mentioned this earlier, the Usos have to win this as much as like what the Brawling Brutes are doing. The Usos need to retain so we can get that eventual Sammy and KO Tag Team title match. That's gonna be very fun. Braun Strowman versus Omos. Braun Strowman wins, even though this match is for my pillow. I wish this match was on pre-show so I could sleep through it. Whatever. Then we have Karrion Kross versus Drew McIntyre in a steel cage match. Personally, I still don't think Karrion Kross should lose here. So I'm going to go with Karrion Kross to win. I still think Scarlett's going to get involved somehow. But it's going to be Kross going all the way. They're building him up for something. I don't know what it is, but they're going to build him up for something. Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. This match is mainly being done so Brock Lesnar can get his win back from the Royal Rumble. So that's basically what this match is. This match is going to hump, obviously, because I didn't really care for. I don't know. I didn't really care that much for the Royal Rumble match. Maybe it's just me. Hopefully this match may be better than the Royal Rumble match because I think the Royal Rumble match was plagued by the whole Roman Reigns stuff. That's just me. Main event, Roman Reigns, Logan Paul. Obviously, Roman Reigns is going to win this match. Come on. I mean, Logan Paul is not going to walk into fucking Saudi Arabia and win the world title. I say that, but I also thought that Bray Wyatt was going to beat Goldberg for the 2 years ago. So that didn't happen. So I hope Triple H does the right thing and doesn't do that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's Crown Jewel. That's my predictions for Crown Jewel. Also, what Bray Wyatt's going to do on the show. He's going to get the entrance. He's going to cut promo. We may see a new character. We may see the debut of Uncle Brody, or not Uncle Brody, but Harper. The other character that's been trademarked, or we might see Uncle Howdy. Somebody else playing Uncle Howdy coming out. Who knows? But that's what I think is going to happen. But yeah, that's my predictions for Crown Jewel, and that's my review of Friday Night SmackDown. I will see you guys back here from Monday Night Raw. I will not be covering Crown Jewel on the podcast. I will tweet about it though, but I will not be reviewing the show. We also have some other things announced for Full Gear, by the way. We do have the Full Gear bracket that was announced. So here is the names in the Full Gear bracket. So on Wednesday, we're going to have Eddie Kingston taking on Ethan Page on Rampage next Friday. And on Friday's Rampage, I think they could be on Rampage. I'm not 100% sure. You have Bandito versus Roosh, Lance Archer versus Ricky Starks, Brian Cage versus Dante Barton. I think the finals of that tournament is going to be Ethan Page and Lance Archer, or not Ethan Page and Ricky Starks. And I think Ricky Starks is going to win the whole thing. But I'll get to that when I get to my Full Gear predictions. Another match that was announced for Full Gear four-way match for the Ring of Honor Championship. It's going to be Jericho defending against Sammy Guevara, Bryan Danielson, and Claudio Castagnoli. So that's pretty much the other stuff that happened on Rampage that was announced for Full Gear. Like I said, I will be back here for Monday Night Raw on Monday. We're going to start getting back into that groove here. Hopefully. And then we got our first pay-per-view of the month of, for me at least, to cover for the month of November, which is Full Gear, which is on November 19th of next 2 weeks from tomorrow. And also we have on November 20th, whenever at some point in the day, I'm going to review New Japan Stardom historic crossover. Then that following Saturday after that, we're going to have Survivor Series of War Games. So tune in for all that. I've been Matt the Misfit. This is the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. Until Raw next week, I will see you guys till then. We're out.